Lloydminster may soon be changing how it enables staff to make purchases on behalf of the city. Administration has asked council to switch from using credit cards to cover utilities, business travel, and certain goods and materials to a purchasing card system. City administration says the new P cards are more efficient and could be controlled on an individual level, limiting where and when a card is used.
We can actually cancel that immediately online ourselves, or we can adjust it. Or they can phone back and say, look, I've got a really good deal on purchasing something. Can you increase or give me the authority? And we can do that online.
The ability to put controls on the front end of the card are greater than you can with the credit card.
However, Councillor Torsen says he's not sure if the P card controls would be enough.
I realize that comes at a much higher cost to do the traditional system. So really all my concern is around whether we have the proper system of internal controls to make sure that we can have accountability and make sure that everything is going the way it should be.
City administration will provide more information on the purchasing card system when council meets as a committee August 30th. A senior researcher with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada is the recipient of this year's Beef Industry Award for Research and Innovation. Dr. Karen Schwarzkopf-Genswein is taking this year's accolade as the Canadian Beef Industry Conference is wrapping up in Calgary. Conference Chair Virgil Lowe tells us about this researcher whose work in early disease detection gives beef consumers greater confidence in the industry.
It's awarded every year to a researcher that's sort of outstanding in the field of really advancing beef cattle research.
700 people attended this year's conference, with some 800 people being at Wednesday's banquet. With NAFTA talks underway, it was also important for meetings that involved beef stakeholders from across North America.
We had probably between 50 and 60 Americans and Mexicans in attendance at the conference this year. And we held some sort of closed-door meetings with leadership of the Canadian, Mexican, and American cattle associations, and they're basically all on the same page.
Next year, London, Ontario will play host to Canada's beef industry. A one-of-a-kind program in Alberta is now being offered at Lakeland College. The two-year Petroleum Management Diploma Program aims to transition frontline workers into managerial roles within the oil and gas sector.
The present need right now is, especially with this downturn in the economy, a lot of these companies, they want their managers to be working very efficiently. A lot of them have laid off staff.
The program consists of 10 courses related to the industry, including finance, regulatory, and environmental. Says students in this program usually come from the industry and must have at least 6 months of industry experience.
And for current managers in the oil and gas sector, not just those, but also with the service industry, contractors, this is a skill that we're going to equip them with to become even more efficient managers.
There are various admission routes available to students, with an option to fast track depending on prior education and experience. Medical marijuana users have clearer guidelines for traveling with their prescription, but that comes with strict limitations. Josh Ryan has more in this week's Healthy Living.
People who require medical marijuana for conditions like chronic pain are able to take it with them on Canadian flights, so long as they follow specific criteria.
So you can travel between provinces, you can drive, you can fly, carry it in your carry-on. As long as it's locked away safely, you can have it on you.
However, to carry it on a plane, a license is required, which rests on the approval of your doctor.
So you have to have a reason, it has to be medical. And we go through a whole list of questions and assessments. And we then, at the end, if you've met a few criteria, we sign off on a prescription.
After that permission is granted, you still require a license producer to give you the travel license and cannabis, but before that, many people have issues getting their physicians to sign off.
Lots of doctors are not willing to sign the prescription for various reasons. You know, either religious, ethical, or they don't know.
That still only covers domestic travel, as many countries have far stricter regulations for cannabis. To get around this, some people ask for synthetic marijuana like Nabalone.
For patients that really need it, that's the option. And that's allowed across the border.
However, Health Canada warns against the risk of side effects involving synthetics. For those who would then attempt to illegally carry on cannabis, Naidu says it's not worth the legal ramifications.
So people shouldn't be traveling with cannabis even if it's prescribed.
Josh Ryan, Newcap News.
With the North American free trade negotiations underway, ag producers who are out in the field during the day are also focusing on the deliberations. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow chats with Alberta's Ag Minister to find out where Canada's strength lies.
That he is not interested in a mere tweaking of a few provisions.
I know the current administration in the United States has made some overtures on some of our agricultural products. But I'm fairly confident in my conversations with the federal agriculture minister, Minister McCulley, when his meetings with Sonny Perdue, the United States Secretary of Agriculture, have been very positive. Where Mr. Perdue has said, I feel through my conversations with McCulley, that the American Secretary really knows how integrated agriculture is within North America, how important it is to all three countries, and that have anything change in that would cause an imbalance for all countries.
Do you think supply management is really in the crosshairs?
I'm somewhat concerned about supply management, but we've heard again from the American, some of the media reports down there that they're concerned about milk being dumped from Canada, that kind of thing, which doesn't exist because of that supply management. Our management practices show that we produce what is needed for the country, for the province, with very little being shipped out.
Now, I'm hearing as well that President Trump is chatting with the Ranchers and Cattlemen Action Legal Fund, RCAF. And does that mean then that beef cattle, we might see a return to cool, heaven forbid?
That's a great question. This past January, I was in a conference in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, talking to many state-level agriculture representatives from both parties, but mostly Republican, I have to admit. I never spoke to anyone who liked the mandatory country of origin labeling. They all thought it was bad for their industry, the cattle industry. All of them were free trade. My understanding from Sonny Perdue, he's the same thing. He doesn't like what MCOOL was or that it would come forward. So at least, again, at this point, we're having a lot of positive signals from our partners, really, in the United States.
This is the first round of talks, and Canada's lead negotiator remains confident.
We're going to seek to uphold the existing elements in NAFTA that are key to our national interest.
Gerard Lampow.
This is Newcap Sports.
Day one of the CPCA Finals is in the books, and a surprising driver came away with day money, but the real story was how drivers managed a track ravaged by rain. As Lance Phillips found out, it wasn't easy, and for one driver, very costly.
Heat times during day one of the CPCA Finals certainly weren't what drivers and fans had hoped for, and it can be blamed on adverse track conditions. The muddy course was debilitating, but Chance Bensmiller found a way to edge Ray Mitswing by 1/100th of a second to take day money.
I've won quite a few day monies in my lifetime, but to do it here at Lloyd, I'm sitting ninth, so it's huge. I know the horses all year. They've been there. They've been knocking on the door, but I couldn't get it, and now they did, so I'm pretty pumped with it.
It was Bensmiller's first day money of the season, a situation the Dewberry native isn't used to.
Earlier in the season, like I said, I had I think 26 or 28 seconds in outrider penalties. So, that hurts a guy's motto, and it hurts the horses too, because you do all the work, you do everything, and then you have them penalties.
Arguably the biggest story entering Wednesday's race was the 2.5-point gap separating fifth place BJ Carey from Jamie Labacane's number 4 position. But a mistake barreling left the 11th year driver visibly agitated about what could have been.
I wish I could do the race over. I knew it was going to be a heavy infield, and I held them left all the way to the top, and I couldn't hold them any farther.
It was tough. Me and BJ were both off of one, and BJ had a little bit of trouble up there, and I can see why. When I took my turn, it was tough slugging to that top barrel.
Fortunate for myself, 4 barrel was dry. The outfit popped, and they got to come out of there. 1 barrel, absolutely, it was bad, and so was 2 in the top of 3. So, barrel draws, it is what it is, and if you get lucky enough to outdraw somebody, that's what happens.
The air boosts Labacane's lead to 14.5 points over his relative, leaving Carey feeling like he missed a golden opportunity.
Oh, big time. I mean, one barrel is the money barrel, and you got to make it count when you have it. And I didn't make it count tonight. I got my top barrel, and I'm not a guy that makes excuses. I ran that outfit a lot this summer. They're tired, and it's wagon racing. Stuff happens, so you got to carry on and get ready for tomorrow. You got to have a short memory.
I feel bad for my brother-in-law because, you know, nobody likes to climb ahead like that, but I guess at the same time he climbed close to me last weekend when I hit my barrel, but that's wagon racing. It's a whole new beast when you get conditions like this.
Despite the air and the fact his non-point wagon narrowly missed day money, nothing's changed.
No, I'm not going to alter nothing. They were the go-tos all year, and they're gonna be the go-tos the next two nights. I'll alter it for night 4, and just see what happens. I mean, I'm not out of it yet. Anything could happen. I got to go in there and be ready, hammer cocked, and forget about that barrel and be ready for tomorrow off 2 barrel.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.